Donald Trump is changing up his campaign strategy, announcing Wednesday night that he's replacing campaign manager Brad Parscale with longtime political aide Bill Stepien, as recent polls show him falling further behind Joe Biden. The president announced this on social media, saying that Parscale, who has been with me for a long time, will stay as a senior advisor focusing on digital and data strategies. Parscale has been marginalized in the campaign for several weeks, officials said, with Trump angry about a botched rally in Oklahoma where far fewer people attended than expected and is lagging poll numbers. And so it's funny, Dan, like after that whole incident happened and the rally was a bust, there was talk about the possibility that he'd be fired. Anyone saying that was ridiculed as like, oh, it's just wishful thinking, it's not going to happen. And then flash forward 3 weeks, it happens. Although, to be fair, it might be less the rally and more, this is not a winning strategy, according to national polls at least. Like, Trump has never been leading, and he's losing about as bad as he has at any point in this race. Like, it might just be a wise decision. Brad Parscale's strategy obviously isn't working. Do you think it's a good change? Do you think it actually signals a change in what the campaign's going to look like?
Literally no. If anything, if you're an astute political observer, this signals that things are still business as usual in the kind of Trump circus. And that is kind of part of the calculus you should take into the rest of the year up to the election. Because not even when Trump was inaugurated, not even since Trump started his campaign, basically since honestly most of my entire life when Trump decided to start that NBC show The Apprentice, we kind of know how this works. Like there's this big thing, you get put up to a big task. This is in the show, or like this is in his career now as a politician and as a president. You get put up for a big task. If you make the big guy look bad in that big task, regardless of what the big guy is doing on his own and regardless of any of the other factors going into it, you make him look bad, you're in charge, you're out, you're fired. Like that was the catchphrase. And so when we all had the schadenfreude moment when the Tulsa rally turned out to be entirely or like nearly empty, and Trump had to take those photo ops, including that one where he was walking back completely just like tattered and defeated. Like, that's a huge firing. Trump saw that photo.
That's
and,
a
like,
firing.
You think Trump saw that photo and was like, keeping Parscale? You know what? Secretary of State. You know, maybe he was loyal, maybe he did all the loyal things, but you can't hand Trump that big of an L and keep your job. But like to your point, the poll numbers have nothing to do with Brad. Like Trump is kind of doing this to himself. So it's good to see that, you know, like that's good to see. But, you know, Trump's still being Trump. And so it's not like there's any sort of course correction coming from that camp at all.
I agree. Like, two things can be true. Brad Parscale can seem, to all indications, to be a genuinely bad person. And also, how are you supposed to help a candidate as bad as Donald Trump? Like, it's a pandemic, and he doesn't care that people are dying by the thousands. That's going to be tough for a digital ad to overcome. So that's in defense of Brad Parscale. Now let's just briefly dunk on him. So you might remember the biggest moment in the media for Brad Parscale probably was several months ago when he announced in a particular, like I would say tone-deaf way, but it's like the GOP always does this now. For nearly 3 years, we've been building a juggernaut campaign. Death Star. It is firing on all cylinders. Data, digital, TV, political, surrogates, coalitions, etc. In a few days, we start pressing fire for the first time. Although, correction, it did take them a couple of months, but they did press fire. Anyway, no, and the idea that like we're the Death Star, they're the bad guys, but they like Trump as Thanos. It doesn't make any sense. What are you gonna do?
It's really like Brad Parscale watched a little bit of Succession and he's just like, oh, I want to be like Logan Roy. He's the good guy. I'm going to say be just like him and talk just like him because he's strong and people like him and he's relatable. He represents the everyman.
I don't watch that show. But I get it.
But yeah.
But if I could take this fun little story of the comeuppance of a bad person and just add a little bit of poop to the top of that sundae, the joke is kind of on us at the end of the day because Parscale and his companies have taken in about $40 million from the Trump campaign already. Parscale even put himself in one of Trump's ads. But no, he's become enriched and he's still being paid by the campaign a huge amount of money, probably to keep him hushed up until after the election. So I think in the end, it's embarrassing for him, but he has made so much money, I doubt it stings that bad.
I mean, until he gets that PPP loan, it's not going to be that much. I mean, so everyone loots from Trump. Got to get that PPP loan to get like the creme de la creme. Like if you're going to get like the corruption holy trinity.
Exactly. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.